Hi, hello. Welcome to the episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is January the 15th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well in good spirits and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Let's see here. Really, just trying to stay warm as per winter usual. Let's see. It's been like in the single digits. Right now, I think it's in the teens, so that's nice. A nice little improvement. I'll take it. But yeah, I really haven't been doing that much. Hung out for the most part, sleeping when I can. That's always nice. Let's see. Food corner. It was pretty good yesterday. I made a really banger pizza, if I do say so myself. It was a pineapple and pepperoni pizza with a Alfredo sauce base. And I gotta tell you, I'm glad I used some good Alfredo sauce because it came out really, really nice. Definitely would make that again. It was very yummy, very scrumptious. All right, there's really not much else to really report on the personal news. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and do our startup, and then we'll get into some news. Do 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 do. Alrighty. From the BBC. Ukraine says it shot down Russian A-50 spy plane. Ukraine's military says it shot down a Russian military spy plane over the Sea of Azov, in what in Al, I cannot talk right now. In what analysis say would be a blow to Moscow's air power. Army Chief General Valery Zaluchny said the Air Force had destroyed an A-50 long-range radar detection aircraft and a Il-22 control center plane. The A-50 detects air defenses and coordinates targets for Russian jets. Let's see here. A briefing from UK's Ministry of Defense on February 23rd said Russia likely had 6 operational A-50s in service. The planes can cost hundreds of millions of dollars to build. Now, BBC hasn't 100% verified the story, but I know they've gone through as great of lengths as they can to do it. I know I was listening to this actually before I went on. So, I mean, it seems pretty credible. Who knows exactly how damaged it was. Just in terms of pictures, I saw the tail of it looks pretty banged up. But like they said, they really couldn't 100% verify it, but they do tend to believe it. So there's that. Let's see here. Other than that, though, it's not big news or anything like that. So I figured, hey, let's go ahead and hit that and move on. Let's move on to the next beat from Myanmar. Bit of a double feature here. From Al Jazeera. Myanmar's military ethnic armed groups agreed to China-mediated truce. Myanmar's military, which seized power in a coup nearly 3 years ago, has agreed to an immediate ceasefire with an alliance of ethnic armed groups whose offensive since October has emerged as the biggest threat to the regime since its power grab. Excuse me. China hopes the relevant parties in Myanmar can consensuously implement the agreement, exercise maximum restraint towards each other, and solve the issues through dialogue and consultations. China's foreign ministry spokesperson Mao Ning said on Friday. Let's see. Myanmar's military, which overthrew the elected government of Aung San Suu Kyi in February 2021, has been battling an alliance of ethnic minority armies fighting to end its control of the region since late October, with intense violence along the northern border with China. Now, in this situation, at least how I've viewed it, how I've felt about it, I've really just been against Myanmar's military here. Since they've done their overthrow, since their coup, thousands of civilians have been died, or have been killed. I'm sorry. With Aung San Suu Kyi, like they put her in really terrible situations just to like take her out and put her back in. It's just been really upsetting and frustrating to see, military act like this. I mean, it's not uncommon, it's not new, but it seems that more parties have gotten involved, more armed groups have gotten involved. I know I should have their name ready, but I know they're coming up in the other article we're about to get into. Let's see here. The Arakan Army. The two other groups in the alliance are the Myanmar National Democratic Alliance Army, the MNDAA, and the Arakan Army. I know with the Arakan Army, they kind of were trying to abide by a ceasefire that they had already agreed to. And then I think they said, okay, well, now, like, we're going to pass this. And so they've kind of gotten a little bit more involved and have really turned the tide against the Myanmar military. And essentially, this truce is supposed to be like, hey, from, this alliance group, they're not supposed to be making, like, offensive gains or anything like offensive pushes into any towns and like taking any areas. And then from the Myanmar's military, they're supposed to not be doing airstrikes and bombardments, which has really kind of been their, main use of force in terms of suppressing people, suppressing any kind of armed resistance. So that was, I believe, 3 days ago that article came out. I kind of found that, but what brought me here was this article. Let's see if it loads up. Okay, good. From the BBC. Myanmar rebel group claims control of India border town. Ethnic insurgents in western Myanmar say they have captured an important town on one of the main routes to India from military forces. The Arakan Army, one of the 3 armed groups that launched a new major offensive against the military in October, says it has taken control of Puelta in Chin State. There is not a single military council camp left in the entire Puelta area, the group said on its Telegram channel. Myanmar's military has not commented. So, this was a development that kind of got me here, and then seeing like, oh, okay, so there's been a development in that regard in terms of this truce, but I don't know how both sides are really abiding by it as of right now. But still, this is a pretty big development. Like I said before, in terms of like, I'm never really like saying, oh, I love to see this violence. No, obviously violence is bad. It doesn't matter what side, you're looking at it, but that being said, it just seeing, Myanmar's military conduct themselves in the way that they have, it just really makes me sad and really bums me out. So I really like to see a change there, and it'd be really great to, cover that at some point in this year if that's something that happens and is a reality. But then, of course, there's always a fallout to see what comes of that. Let me not get ahead of myself there. That's the Myanmar special for you. Let's go ahead and move on to the next beat. I actually have an update from Iceland. I know we covered the volcanic situation, and that is indeed ongoing. From NBC News, lava consumes homes in fishing town after Iceland volcano eruption. Molten lava set houses ablaze in an evacuated Iceland fishing town on Monday after a volcano erupted, leaving the country to battle what its president described as tremendous forces of nature. Residents of Grindavik, which had been home to some 4,000 people, said they had been glued to live streams in shock at bright orange lava consuming their neighborhood. President Gundi Th. Johannesson said in a televised address late Sunday that a daunting period of upheaval has begun on Reykjanes Peninsula, where a long-dormant volcanic system has awakened. A volcano on the peninsula erupted for the second time in less than a month on Sunday morning. Authorities had ordered residents to leave the fishing town hours earlier as a swarm of small earthquakes indicated an imminent eruption. So yeah, I couldn't imagine. And for some people, they actually had came back. There was an initial eruption on December 18th. Then some residents were allowed back home, only to now have to leave again. So I can't imagine how frustrating that is. Hopefully, well, the good news is at least no one's been injured as of yet, though someone has gone missing. Um, I think that they fell into like a crack, like from like the volcano, like splitting earthquake stuff or whatever. Um, but yeah, that's unfortunate. Hopefully they find that person and they are alive. But yeah, overall it hasn't been bad. Yeah, it was an emergency worker. Um, or at least I think it was an emergency worker. Sorry. Um, but yeah, hopefully, there isn't any more loss of life or anything like that, or anyone else going missing. I know there has been, property damage and things of that nature. Obviously, people, very concerned about being able to go home, being displaced because of the situation. But yeah, just figured that was a, important update that we should cover. And yeah, we can go ahead and move on to the last story we have for the day. But let me go ahead and take my break. Do, 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 do. Ooh. Ooh. Excuse me. From ABC News, Fulton County DA Fannie Willis defends special prosecutor following allegation of romantic relationship. Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis spoke at a church in Atlanta Sunday morning where she gave an emotional and passionate remarks that appeared to acknowledge for the first time the affair allegations leveled against her last week, while also defending the special prosecutor she brought in for the election interference case against Donald Trump. So yeah, I did not expect an affair from Fannie Willis to be on the 2024 bingo card, but here we go. Here we are. Um, let's see. One of former President Trump's co-defendants in his Georgia election interference case is seeking to dismiss the indictment against him and disqualify DA Willis, alleging she engaged in personal romantic relationship with one of the top prosecutors she brought in to work on the case, which allegedly resulted in financial gain for the both of them. In the court filing Monday, former Trump campaign staff member Michael Roman accused Willis of having potentially committed an act to defraud the public of honest services based on her intentional failure to disclose the alleged relationship that she allegedly personally benefit from. So she's saying that Fannie Willis has had an affair with Nathan Wade, who, let's see, is also, I think, is one of the three others. I think there's like a total of four, I guess, including Fannie Willis. But they were being paid approximately $650,000 in legal fees since being appointed to the role, which filing claims was a self-serving arrangement. So essentially, they're saying this is grounds for, at least dismissing the case for Michael Roman. I don't know if it's like the whole thing or not there. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty big implication. Also, her kind of saying this, kind of, allegedly, whatever, but not actually like addressing it, saying like, hey, this was like he's a great friend, but also a talented lawyer. And the argument is too that like that they're bringing up is that he actually doesn't have the experience, like that we can actually prove that there's evidence to that effect. But let me add a bit of a quote from Fannie from her little speech on Sunday. I appointed 3 special counselors. It's my right to do. Pay them all the same hourly rate. They only attack one. I hired one white woman, a good personal friend and great lawyer, a superstar, I tell you. I hired one white man, a brilliant, my friend, and a great lawyer. I hired one black man, another superstar, a great friend, and a great lawyer. The black man is Wade. And she's essentially trying to like say, hey, that yes, I'm a flawed, I'm an imperfect person, but that I hired all these people on the level and you guys are singling out the one black man. And I feel like this is like a racially motivated situation. Also, she brings up the death threats, the name calling, people like, calling her the N-word and all this kind of stuff. Saying that, she faces this like on like a daily, weekly basis. It's very, very, throughout. It's so common now that she's just so used to it and she feels very persecuted. And I can understand that. That being said, is there any merit to the fact of, Nathan Wade, being hired for personal gain? Well, I don't know. I do have a little bit of a side article. I don't want to get too deep into it, but I did get this from Politico. Georgia prosecutor under scrutiny in Trump case was held in contempt last year. Just 3 days after Georgia prosecutors indicted Donald Trump last summer, one of the lead prosecutors on the case faced some legal trouble of his own. The prosecutor, Nathan Wade, was held in contempt for defying a court order in an acrimonious divorce proceeding with his wife. Wade, a judge in Cobb County, ruled had willfully failed to turn over documents over his income, including his wife, later said, income from his work on the Trump case. Anyway, that's a whole other article. Feel free to delve into that if you want. But I will say that, like, maybe you could add that it's like you could pick any top lawyer, any like good expert for this, because you're going to want someone who is an ace, who has no holes, who has nothing that can come for you on. But you added this guy, and it is one of those things where it's like, maybe that was a lapse in judgment. Maybe that was an error. But can you say that that's the kind of error that disqualifies you because it is, the word's escaping me here, but it doesn't actually benefit the state and it only benefits you and this person. And it's like an act of collusion and, kind of goes towards even maybe what Trump is trying to say in his defense. It is a politically motivated thing. And it's just people out, grifters out trying to get the better of him in a witch hunt. I disagree with that narrative, but at the same time, I can understand why this is a newsworthy thing to cover and why Fani Willis is, going to church, kind of, doing a bit of confessing, if you will, maybe, allegedly. I don't know, maybe not. I don't know. Quotations. But yeah, there we go. That's the episode for the day. That's really all I have to bring to you. Hopefully you've had a really good day. Hopefully you've enjoyed your Martin Luther King Day. But yeah. That's it. If you'd like to help out and support the effort, I do have a Patreon, patreon.com/Isaiah News. I W a newsy and I shout you out at the top of the month. Plug a project if you like. Let's see, isaiahnews1@gmail.com if you want to send any feedback my way. And then feel free to follow me or the podcast on the socials. And then hopefully you're subscribed to the YouTube. Every subscription helps. Hit the like button. That also helps. Cool comments also help. And yeah, hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love you. Bye-bye. Mwah.